Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 Million by 1 Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1 Million by 1 Million today is the first and only global virtual incubator accelerator in the world, headquartered out of Silicon Valley. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. And that mission is entirely predicated upon your success as entrepreneurs. We are here because you are here, and you have decided to spend some time with us and use resources that we have put together in helping aid your journey towards successful entrepreneurship. This is our 217th session. In fact, these roundtables predate the 1M1M program. We started experimenting with them back in the fall of 2008. That was a long, long time ago, feels like another moon. And yet, it was a few very baby step experiments that led us to this program, and it has become quite a popular event in the entrepreneurship event roster of the world today. The event is being recorded. You will have the recording available on our YouTube channel as well as on the blog. If you are following us on Twitter, or if you would like to follow us on Twitter, the handles are at 1M by 1M and at Sramana. And we do publish a very significant amount of rich, interesting, inspirational, and educational content about entrepreneurship. So some of it is controversial, some of it is plain, straight up inspiration, journeys of entrepreneurs, how they've been successful and so forth. So definitely take a look at that. And hashtag 1M1M is what we want you to use if you're live tweeting this show today. Our YouTube channel is 1M1M Roundtables. You'll find recordings of every single session there. You will also find some other goodies like fun entrepreneur cartoons. You'll also find some interesting FAQ videos about the 1M1M program. The conference call-in instructions are on your screen. I will put these up later again in the program. We do have, format-wise, we first have 5 entrepreneurs who are going to do slide presentations. So we're going to first work with those who have sent in their slides in advance. And then, depending on how much time we have, we're going to do open Q&A on the conference line as well as in public chat. So hold your questions, and we will try our best to give you an opportunity to ask them. We're going to start today with Manolis Sinaroulakis. Did I do that right?
You did very well. That was very well.
All right, Manolis, please tell us, what are you working on?
Great. So, yes, I am the founder of Reality Crowd TV Media Corporation. And because my internet is acting up on me, are you guys on the slides page already?
I'm advancing the slides. So if you just tell me where, when you want the slides to be advanced, I will take care of it.
Perfect. So, yes, I'm the founder of Reality Crowd TV Media Corporation, and we're based out of New York and Connecticut at the moment. And what we're doing is we're creating the Shark Tank without the bite. So instead of a panel of sharks criticizing people's ideas who are looking to end up getting into the crowdfunding space, we're actually bringing a panel of mentors to help people succeed in raising the capital they need in crowdfunding.
All right.
The presentation today that I'm going to show you is an actual application that we sent in to the Small Business Administration. They're doing a $2.5 million grant program for individuals who have either existing incubators, accelerators, and co-working spaces, or for new individuals who would like to create them. And so we, as part of our plan to bring crowdfunding to the American public, we're very interested in the ecosystem space, and we're looking to create a mixture of those 3 things in one. So if we can go to the first slide, which tells us what our mission statement is, I can kind of start there.
Okay.
So the mission of Reality Crowd TV Media Corporation is to inform, educate, inspire, and motivate entrepreneurs worldwide to start small businesses through crowdfunding and to provide the blueprint on how to crowdfund. And when we first started back in October 23rd, 2013, when we saw the Securities and Exchange Commission released title-free equity crowdfunding proposed rules. We were very excited with the future prospects in the United States for entrepreneurs to not only raise capital through the donation and rewards model of Kickstarter, but now what the government is proposing is, instead of a donation, make it a contribution and allow individuals to purchase direct investments in private companies for a return on their investment as the reward, or actually loan private companies money, and the return would be the interest rate that you would earn. So we started with this mission statement back then, and we've been pivoting along the way because we've seen a lot of interesting things going on in this environment. So we'll move on to the next slide.
All right.
And so what makes us unique? We're focused on educating entrepreneurs that there are other options for funding. Historically, if you couldn't get a bank loan or you couldn't find an angel or a venture capitalist, most entrepreneurs would just give up on their dreams. But now that crowdfunding is in the picture, the balance of power is switching back to the startup community, back to the entrepreneurs, so that they can have a final option to use not only to fund their business, but even to use as leverage, so to speak, against tough negotiations with angels and VCs. Many times angels and VCs, they're looking to acquire the most amount of your company for the littlest amount of money. If you have this option and you've executed a plan, you might be able to raise the money without them, so the negotiation balance of power shifts. So it's a really amazing opportunity that crowdfunding represents. So not only when you enroll in our physical location that we're raising the money for, we're going to have a co-working space, but we're going to host events, education, and through our own journey with Reality Crowd TV, we're actually going to launch an Indiegogo campaign to crowdfund our reality TV show about crowdfunding. Through our own journey, we've identified the 9 stages of crowdfunding that must be executed for every campaign before you hit the fundraise button. And again, we recommend 3 to 6 months of preparation before anyone ever raises money on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or another site. And the other piece that makes us unique is we're incorporating our TV show as part of this ecosystem. We want to make sure that not only are people learning in the traditional sense of the term, but let's visually show others the secrets of entrepreneurship so that everyone can learn to be entrepreneurs in the future. Next slide, please. So where our elements of innovation come in, we actually want to turn education on its head. Universities in America are not affordable, and I'm sure universities all over the world are also getting expensive. Additionally, lending institutions and venture capital firms are not lending or investing as they used to. What we're trying to really do here is provide a gym membership for entrepreneurs where you come into a co-working space, you end up having a space to work, have all the utilities handled for you, have amenities that will help your business grow, and then you also get this education on crowdfunding, and ultimately education on what most startups need the most, which really is business development. We want to help people make revenue while they're trying to crowdfund, not just banking on the revenue that they're going to raise through crowdfunding. So we're really teaching entrepreneurship. And of course, the show will then show the visual proof that the entrepreneurs are doing what they say they want to do, which could actually help them when they're pitching to angels, VCs, and the crowd. If people see you visually doing things, they'll get inspired that you can actually execute on what you're doing. Next slide, please. So it's myself, I'm the founder, and then Jessica Sun is the CEO. Over the last 8 months, we've engaged on a nationwide tour. So we've actually been to Connecticut, New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Jacksonville, Denver, Seattle, and Austin, Texas for South by Southwest, identifying entrepreneurs and experts who could potentially be on our show. We've also had a very rudimentary show that we've actually held now for 18 episodes, and we do that through Google Hangouts on air on a weekly and sometimes twice weekly basis. Next slides, please. Our plans really were shared in an article that was picked up by the Florida Times-Union. We really want to make entrepreneurship not only for tech companies, but we think even the small businesses that are on the street corners or anyone should really have the startup mentality in our opinion, because ultimately I think you want to scale your business, and so we're really trying to hit upon Main Street America in our particular demographic. We're trying to reach out to universities who may want to team up with us in a public-private partnership where we provide an innovation hub for crowdfunding and they provide the space. And there's just a lot of need right now in the inner cities that need it most. The people who have lost hope the most are the ones who are being left behind. And if there's an affordable and accessible way for them to get practical education, not only on crowdfunding and entrepreneurship, but just mentality training as well, I think that would really help these people who've lost some hope. Next slide, please. So our business model is we have the physical location where there's membership fees. We have online education, which we will not only develop ourselves, but have affiliate agreements with others with. We will have events and speaking engagements to drive traffic and excitement for what we're doing and gain membership that way. We have our meetup group, which is currently being used to have our own presence at the moment. We're going to have association relationships to provide discounts to the members of our co-working space. And we're also using digital media content to get the word out and to also provide a way to have a broader reach for both our physical location and our online education.
And is this a for-profit or a non-profit?
This is a for-profit. So the next stage would be implementation upon reward of $50,000. So again, we've submitted this to the Small Business Administration, and everyone should look that up. SBA Growth Acceleration Fund. You guys might as well apply. It's basically a grant for $50,000, so everyone should apply to that. So what we would do with the $50,000? So we would secure the lease. We estimate that at around $10,000. We would do leasehold improvements to get the desks and all the other materials where we estimate at $5,000. We will do accounting and co-working management software to make sure that we can manage every piece of the process. We will create the website and the educational tools, whether it's through Udemy or creating a proprietary platform. And finally, the most important thing that most people don't realize is the only way this would be sustainable is if you have a budget for marketing and getting the word out. So we understand that you have to have a minimum viable product and you have to get users for that product, and we're spending the majority of our funds ensuring that we're going to have users of our co-working space and our online education. Once we get users, then we can begin to develop the programs even further. But to me, if no one knows about what you're trying to do, no one's going to be able to sign up or be a part of your mission. Next step. So the ideal staff, we really want to partner with community-oriented individuals, people who develop communities, people who are from varying cultures, diverse and vibrant communities. And you don't necessarily have to know everything that we know, but if you have a willingness and you're coachable to learn, then we'll teach you, because we're all about education. So we'll help people who need that education. Traditional educators in universities, we'd love to give offices and have office hours so that our people can get certain business or other interesting content that they wouldn't normally get. The government has amazing programs. We'd want them to come in on a regular basis to share the opportunities there. And then Connecticut is really beginning to develop a huge ecosystem for innovation, so we would end up partnering with those organizations and be a part of what's happening in Connecticut. Next slide, please. Risk factors, as always, higher than anticipated startup costs. What if crowdfunding doesn't continue to grow at the rate that it's growing? To give you guys an indication, crowdfunding globally in 2009 was only $1 billion a year. Crowdfunding globally in 2013 has grown to $5 billion a year. The World Bank in November of 2013 released a report that estimates in 20 years crowdfunding is going to be a $90 billion a year industry. So the growth is there. It's where startups are going to go to prove their concept. So I don't think that's going to happen, but of course it's a risk if fraud comes into the picture. Increased competition from existing co-working spaces and new ones. Adverse federal regulations around the Jobs Act. If the Securities and Exchange Commission in the U.S. keeps delaying implementation, that might have an adverse effect. And of course, for whatever reason, if our marketing plan doesn't work and there's slower than anticipated membership growth, that would of course be a risk.
So what is the current expected date for the Jobs Act to actually go into implementation?
So they released the proposed rules in October of 2013. The community at large who read the regulations submitted all their comments on February 3rd, 2014. And some are saying it's going to be in the next couple months. Other people estimate it might be toward the end of the year. Because the Securities and Exchange Commission took so long to even release the proposed rules, there's skepticism on how fast they're going to get to it. So my estimate is by July, the end of July, I think they will issue the final rulings, and then a month later after the final rulings is when the first companies will be allowed to legally raise capital through Title III equity crowdfunding.
Okay. So, one comment I have is you are trying to do the mentoring through a mentoring network. You have some, loosely assembled groups of people. You haven't really identified them and so forth. That's something that is going to be a bit complicated to pull together. Historically, mentoring networks are not the most effective in shepherding people through the process of building businesses. There is a video on our YouTube channel called Why Do Mentoring Networks Not Work? You may want to take a look at it. And you need to get a core group of people who are actually going to be working with these entrepreneurs and mentoring them, if that is part of the value proposition that people are going to be paying for.
Absolutely. I'll definitely check out that YouTube video. I agree with you. Mentors at times, if they're not an engaged mentor, it just doesn't work.
And mostly mentors are not engaged mentors unless they have some sort of a reason to be an engaged mentor. And the most engaged mentors typically are people looking for investment opportunities.
Sure.
So, and the rest of it is, it's all going to depend on your execution. It's going to depend on how good your mentoring is, how good your quality of content is, how good your, the co-working space is commodity. That is kind of not really a differentiating factor, but the rest of it is going to be how effective your program really is. And
totally.
It's very, very difficult to get people to subscribe for services, and establishing quality and convincing people to subscribe is difficult. So so your last risk factor point is something that you need to take very, very seriously.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So then next slide is fundraising goals. So what we sent to the SBA is they would start us off with the physical location, but we really have a very large mission that is a global mission. So we're also going to do something similar to what you do with 1 by 1 million, where we would like to create an online ecosystem, but it's not necessarily an incubator or an accelerator. It is a tool that becomes the way that entrepreneurs connect to education and deal flow to funding portals. So we're trying to create, in the second and third year, we are essentially creating a tool that will be a marketplace in between entrepreneurs and consultants and the funding portals that they need. So we're not going to physically fund anyone, but our customers in 4 key segments, entrepreneurs, consultants, funding portals, and vendors, we're going to be a marketplace in between those 4 constituencies to give them what they need and to have them be successful in raising capital for entrepreneurship. And so there's
my
a lot of...
feedback on your fundraising goals is that if angel or venture capital is part of your plan, you're going to need to prove out your model before anybody is going to give you money to do this. Professional angels and VCs these days want proven models.
Absolutely, and the only proof I have at the moment is that I am the prototype user of the tool that I would end up creating.
Proof. That is not sufficient proof. They're not going to buy that as proof. You're going to need to establish real customers, real validation, real business model validation, real pricing model validation.
Absolutely. We
only exception is friends and family. You could get friends and family to finance you, in which case, or crowdfunding to finance you, in which case you would be able to raise money.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I absolutely agree with you. At the moment, we do have 5 clients who are paying clients on monthly retainer as consultants. So we have a little bit of revenue that we've generated after, we've been around for 8 months, and we just monetized on April 14th is when we started selling our services.
That's great, but that doesn't prove your model. That's not sufficient validation for investors. That's very good to know that you're getting revenues, because revenues are important to allow you to sustain yourself. So keep that going. But if you want to raise money in a professional investment scenario, then you're going to need to get this completely validated. Okay, I'm going to have to move on to the next presenter. Thank you for your presentation, Manolis. We are going to go to Utpal Kant Mishra next. Utpal, if you could unmute the line.
Thank you, Sramana. Good morning to you.
Morning.
And waiting for the day. And I'm Utpal Kant Mishra. I am from India, and I'm into skill development space. The company that I am holding as of now is Eduploy Learning and Development Private Limited, and the company is based out of Delhi, NCR of India. Could you please take me to the next slide? What basically we are trying to do is India is facing a typical problem where the graduates from the university system or any education system that exists over here, hardly 15% of the graduates of the pass out are found to be employable in this country. Now there is a paradoxical situation where the skill development activity is happening into this country, but they are targeting only those industries which have gone to saturation. Now the situation is like industries are looking for trained manpower, and the people passing out from the colleges and the colleges or working into the industry are not employable or are not having the kind of a skill set that is required by any of these industries. Second thing that is lacking into this particular country is innovation of introducing new programs and giving exposure to the new areas I mean technology, the industry, everything that I am talking about. Packaging, despite being one of the world's largest industry, India is also having this particular industry as the 5th largest industry. There is nobody who could have developed the program and ventured into skill development. A couple of institutions over here into education and packaging, but they are using traditional mode and exposing students only for the outdated technologies that they are having, thus making this industry really fight for trained manpower who could handle their different verticals and departments. Now, our project is a project which is standalone product into an industry which is, as on date, 18.8 billion industry in India, and which is growing despite recession at the rate of 14 to 15%. The industry is having presence in organized as well as unorganized sectors in India. There is a characteristic of India is that only 10% of the entire the entire industry network is into.
Something is wrong with the line, Utpal. We cannot hear you. Generating echoes.
There is something wrong with the voice.
Actually,
I mean, my voice is coming back.
That's better. I think it's Atit generating the echo. Go ahead.
Yes.
Please, everybody else who's on the phone, please keep your lines muted. Otherwise, you're going to disrupt the call when other people are speaking. Please only unmute your line when your turn comes to speak. Go ahead, Utpal.
Only 10% of the entire industry in India is under organized sector. 90% of Indian economy is based on unorganized sector. This industry is having its presence into organized as well as in unorganized sector. This is an industry which is characterized by its presence simply by the fact of the business economies involved into this particular business, that this industry is having presence into the even into the remotest part of this country.
So Utpal, let me help you speed this up. We understand you're trying to do a training program for the packaging industry, and the packaging industry is large. So
yes.
let's get into the details. What kind of training does the packaging industry need? Do you have a good understanding of what are the specific types of training that particular industry needs?
Yes, definitely. This industry needs a technical training, basically. People who can understand the machine, people who can operate the machine, people who can understand the materials, the testing methodology, the printing and color training that is involved into this packaging, as well as the transportation and logistics system. That complete ecosystem training that these people are required in for.
And here's my next question. For each of those categories of training, you're talking about technician training, you're talking about design, you're talking about material handling. You know, you talked about 5 or 6 different types of jobs within the packaging industry that each of them have their own training requirements. Do you have a good analysis of how many people are working in each of those sectors, or how many jobs are open in each of those sectors, and how many people want to be trained for each of those jobs, each of those types of jobs?
The precise statistics for this industry is not available to with anybody, but the estimate
but you must have some estimate. Otherwise, there's no point building a business without knowing how big a business can you build out of that. If there are all of 300 people who need this training, that is not going to be worth building a business around.
Mara, I was coming on to the estimation. There are 22,000 organized sector companies into this particular arena, and almost 130,000 unorganized companies working into this particular arena. Now, the workforce that is required into this particular industry on annual basis is close to around 75,000 to 1 lakh people who get into this particular industry every year. That is the minimum estimate that we are talking about. So this is the kind of
And what are the sources from which this industry recruits normally?
Normally, this industry is recruiting on, as far as skilled labor class is concerned, they are recruiting as on date through the channel of their labor forces. Anybody known to them, they recruit them. Secondly, they are recruiting from generic colleges which are providing generic training into suppose engineering or something, and then retraining those candidates for at least 1 year into their factory. So the training costs for these industries are quite high as on date. So
and what's your assumption for your business model? Are you assuming that the companies, these 22,000 companies that are out there who are in need of this skill, are they going to pay you to provide them with these trained resources? So are you assuming that these companies hire students from their normal sources, and then they, instead of running their own training institutes, they're going to pass these students through you, and you're going to do the training, they're going to pay you, and then they will hire trained resources from you?
There are 3 revenue sources. We are targeting the revenue from industry, from government, and from the students. These are the 3 revenue sources, and there are customer validation work that we have already done onto that. Number 1, industry will pay us for skill upgradation. The people who are working into their companies who are not acquainted to the occupational standards, if we train them, that is where the companies are going to pay us, number 1. This activity is already going on, and we have, though we have started our operation on 16th of April, we have already worked it out into 2 companies. We are already having the pending order of 3 more companies. Secondly, the government, since the government in India, it's having a skill development activity is one of the prime sector of prime importance of the government. So government are looking towards getting their people, the people of different states and from different communities being trained and placed into this into these countries. So we are pitching in for the government business also. Why we have not yet got it? Because there are certain parameters for a new company which needs to be fulfilled before we can get that particular project, and that we are trying to do it. The third thing is these industries are going to recruit students who we will be training as an add-on training program, because this is going to reduce their in-house training cost, which cost that they are incurring as on date on these trainings. So that is going to increase their profitability, and they will be going to get the kind of trained people who they are actually looking in for. So these three sources of revenue, the revenue thing is there.
So right now, if you were to find a source of revenue, which one of these would be the fastest revenue source for you?
The fastest revenue source that we have already started is skill upgradation for the present employee, number one.
Okay.
Second facet which we are expecting in another couple of months to happen is the government source. That is the skill development project of different state governments. We come under innovation category. The second validation work that we have done is National Skill Development Council has already vetted our project as one of the best innovation in the skill marketplace compendium of this country in 2013-14. So on that, National Skill Development Corporation is the apex body as far as skill development is concerned. So that particular thing is leading us closer towards the government thing. The third,
and how much of the training material, the faculty, are those in place?
We have already developed 5 programs, and the materials are completely ready with us. We have already identified 6 guest faculties who are working with us onto different industry projects as on date. We have already identified 4 curriculum vitae for people who are interested in joining us as a full-time faculty. So this is the background.
So your question about based on where you are, I'm looking at your challenges and questions slide. You are going to have to generate revenue and organically get this business to a point where your assumptions are validated. And your question about, and so that's basically focus on the place from where you can get revenue the fastest. And I think you answered that question by saying it's the corporate training through which you're going to get to revenue the fastest. So get to that as quickly as possible and get this program rolling. That is, so our philosophy is bootstrapping with customer money is the fastest way to get things going. So that's number one. So you have to get this business actually operating and running and generating cash as soon as possible. Whether this company is fundable or not, I do not know, because I have not seen the analysis presented, and you do not have the analysis done in a format that can help anybody, any investor or myself, make those judgments. So if you hang on, I'm going to explain later on in the program how we work with entrepreneurs and help you with that diagnostic, and then if you are fundable, help you with the funding later on in the program. So hold that question until later, and we will come back to it.
All right.
Okay.
Your suggestion onto the kind of a business we are having, is it a good business where we are in?
Any business is a good business if you can make it happen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move. Thank you, Utpal. Thanks for your presentation. Atit Jain is next. Gig Start is the company. Atit, if you could unmute your line, that would be great. Utpal's line needs to be muted. Great. Go ahead.
Hi, Sramana. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. So we are based in New Delhi, and we are trying to implement a first of its kind marketplace in India for artists, entertainers, and on-venue event services.
Okay.
We go on to the next slide. The current problem right now is that there is no way to discover locals. So the only way you hire talent in India right now is either through reference or through the service called Just Dial, where there's a lot of clutter and information overload, and a lack of information to make an informed decision. If you go online and move to Google, there is no single platform to cover all, to basically provide you all the information to make an informed decision. So I'll take an example of a musician. There is no source where you can see all the videos, all the performance ranges, which we can compare. Something, I don't know whether you know it, but there's something called as gig masters in the US, which does something similar. So if you want to hire an entertainer in the US, there is a lot of information provided to you to make a good decision. But in India, they're there. The other problem is all the channels available usually lead to event planners and middlemen who basically are not exclusive managers of this artist,
right,
but are in some form or the other are claiming to represent this artist. Now what ridiculously happens here is that unlike a housing brokerage industry in India, where the brokerage remains a fixed percentage, which is 10% in India, regardless of how many brokers get involved in the process. In the case of the artist, the number of brokers that get involved add up. They add up the brokerage fee. So if the brokerage will be 50% instead of 10%, which is ridiculous on the end user. And the last problem is that so there is a problem of payment. So if somebody has made a payment, you cannot really come for the performance. And if he is not, as you say that you take the payment after the performance, there are a lot of follow-ups from the artist side. So both the parties, so anybody who's basically the honest of the both parties is going to suffer being the scene in India, that you can actually take him for a ride, which is the problem that we are trying to solve. Can you please slide? The solution, next slide please. The solution that we have is an online marketplace where a buyer can meet talent and artists can get discovered easily. As a talent buyer, you are exposed to a variety of options. So basically, when you come onto my portal, you not only see, if you want to hire a DJ, you not only see a DJ, but there are other recommendations which tell you that there are other better options suited for your kind of a party. For an artist, it's very useful because his representation becomes geography agnostic. So somebody from Delhi can maybe hire somebody from Bombay or somebody from South India and make a basis the cost that he's going to bear. So why this becomes beneficial for the artist is because at times the to and fro travel cost plus the lodging cost of the artist is cheaper than the artists that are available in a particular city. This has happened with us a couple of times. So this is why a fair portal where information will help. And we, as an add-on service to everybody on our portal, we give them payment services so they can choose to pay through us, where we act as an escrow like eBay, where we keep the payment. In case we don't take any guarantee of the performance quality, but we take the guarantee of the performance happening and the artist which was chosen to deliver the performance.
Okay, so the payment fees that you're doing is essentially an escrow account.
Right, it's an escrow service, yes.
And what about the travel cost? Is that also in the escrow account? How is the travel cost being covered?
No, so the travel cost will not be in the escrow. The travel cost will need to be borne by the client or the artist. So if the artist includes that in his fee, then it is in the escrow. Then only the fee of the artist is included in escrow.
You have to think that through. If you're going to cover geography agnostic situations, then you're going to need to think that through, because if somebody buys the travel tickets, if the artist buys the tickets and shows up and the travel costs are not paid, that doesn't help, right?
So this is an arrangement that the artist will need to do with the buyer, because see, there are terms of payment when an artist is getting hired. So some artists will say that I'll bear the traveling cost is on me and I'll come there and you pay me the fee. The other case is that the artist will say that you buy the tickets from me and I'll only come when the tickets reach me. That is your headache. You need to send the tickets to me. In that case, anyway, the onus lies with the talent buyer. But that is a facility that we can include. but we've not thought through yet. The market size in terms of revenue in India is the wedding industry is the biggest. The same remains globally, that wedding entertainment is a chunk of live entertainment scene. This is the thing that we are trying to target, but this is a seasonal business. Wedding industry in India is about 6 to 8 months in India. But this is the biggest target. College and music fests are fast catching up in India. So last year there were 800,000 tickets sold to entertainment concerts in India. This is a trend that is fast catching up in India. There are a lot of festivals coming up, and a festival, when it rolls out, they don't have a platform right now where they have access to all the bands in India. So, for example, so just like a job portal where you can roll out an opening and say that any band in India can apply. Whereas we are tying up with festivals and telling them that you can and we post this opening to all the bands listed in our portal that this is the band festival happening and you can apply through our portal. Private parties again can constitute to a large extent to what is the market size. And one more thing that we are focusing on is restaurant hirings, because as opposed to countries, a lot of restaurants in India are catching up on the trend of live music, and this is a restaurant owner. Live music is the least of the things that you need to focus. And the operational things involved in the process, there is screening of artists, getting talent, and in the cost that he wants it to be, because this is a very cost-sensitive zone for the restaurant owner. So we solve that problems for them, and so these are the 4 categories that we are currently catering to. Next slide, please. So the business model, the market adoption, and the traction. So I'll move to the revenue model. Next slide. So right now we take 10% of the hiring fee from the artist. Whenever the payment is made through us, we take a 10% from the artist. But being a new business, we think that we are getting involved a lot in the transaction, and we need to delineate ourselves from the transaction so that the hiring between the talent buyer and so we can act as a platform like OLX, where somebody can buy a service without the medium getting involved, the portal getting involved in the transaction. And this we think can speed up our growth exponentially. But when we need to take a revenue hit because of this, because lot many people can think of bypassing us in this case. Whereas that is why we want to move to test this model for like the next 6 months and see if we can move to a premium listing model and provide services to artists like a digital portfolio, calendaring services, and other premium services which will help him project his image better on the digital side of things. Next slide, please. So, operational since January this year, we've had about 600 sign-ups from artists. We've done this figure has back of revenues in INR through our portal. We are in talks with a lot of investors to get our angel round of funding. Can you please take the next slide?
And what is the source of these gigs and the artists that you're getting? Is this local? How are you finding these people? How are they finding you?
So artists, on the artist side of things, we are reaching out to artists. So initially, we reach to them through Facebook, through other platforms, through finding them online, writing to them. So we got so it was tough to find our first 100 artists. After that, referral has worked for us. And once the portal has been functional, we just send a link. So there's a link that we send to the artist telling them about the portal and ask them to sign up. So the self sign up has really been good for us, and it has also been happened that artists from outside of India have signed on the portal. So we don't cater to artists outside India, but they have signed on the portal, seeing that this might be something relevant for them.
And the geographical footprint
is right now only India. So we've artists from about.
Within India, is it a particular city that you're seeing most of the action, or is it all over India?
Right now, we're seeing most of the action in Delhi because that's where we're based out of, and that's where we are taking effort on reaching out to the buyer side. So artists are signing up from all across the country, but most of the buying is happening in Delhi.
Okay.
So this is the old side. So we implemented Google page views from page views last month. This month we've touched 30,000 page views. Our Alexa rank in India has shot up to less than 7,000. That in a way shows growth of people coming onto our portal. Can you move to the next slide, please? So this is the fraction of sign-ups that we've had. In first month, we started inviting artists because before that it was just a paper plan and we were trying to do everything out of a phone. So in March we had 170 artists who signed up with us. In April we had 300 more artists to sign up. In May we project that 600 more artists will sign up with us. And moving forward, we will reach a number of 9,000 artists in Delhi. So
okay.
Next slide. So that we have right now, or the biggest market is being tapped by event agencies and artist management agencies. We basically are a technology enabling an artist management agency. So we are currently pitching to a lot of artist managers who are exclusively managing the artists to put them on our portal, because this will give them a better reach to people who are searching them online. In the online space, there are a lot of startups who are trying to do something similar in spaces. So like Take Zero, which was recently funded by Times Group in India, is basically trying to capture the model and the actor space of talent. There is something called as Tommy Gems, which is now incubating in the startup Chile, is basically trying to connect deep across the country. It's the oldest in the bunch and has been operational for around 2 years now. Artistivity is again started by it's a veteran and trying to do something for high-end artists. And Event Nation is a startup which was shut down last year, but was managing to do something similar to us. There is something which got funded last week, which is called Talent Sphere, which was funded by some investors from the US, which becomes something similar, but it aims to be on the lines of IMDb Pro for people who want to hire things in the film industry. So next slide, please. The competitive advantage we have relatively for the complete entertainment gamut, there is no player like us. We have a first mover advantage in that case. We are very clear in what we want to do. We only want to facilitate things from looking to booking. We don't want to participate in the logistics of the operation. Our role ends when you made the choice and decide to book somebody. Our UI is very user friendly. The profiles look very and who's not an internet savvy person, who does not understand much about SEO, who does not have access to who does not have even access to Facebook. It is very good for him to be searched all across the globe, all across the country for now, and get access to so people from different event companies can also have a look at them.
The key to this business becoming really successful is how many whether it's venues or event organizers that you can bring onto this portal, right? You provided numbers of artists who signed up, but the real trick in this is to figure out who's going to be hiring these artists. So what is your traction on that side?
So we on that side we are trying out multiple options, because clearly one way of doing it is using sites like OLR and other sites where the postings for these things with the diamonds go, and scouting for them and getting these artists to get hired. There are job portals, so I'll go by vertical. So say for example for photography, there are a lot of job openings going across different portals, which are basically aimed to be portals for regular jobs. So there are portals like there are openings.
Performing artists, not photography, right?
Photographers are a part of this portal. So
yeah, but that's based on the way you presented this program or this this proposal. I did not get the sense that photographers are who we are looking for. I got the sense you're looking for performing artists. Photographers, if you're talking about photographers photographing weddings, those are going through the wedding portals. They're probably not going through a portal like this. At least it sounded to me like, it's complete misconception that it sounded like a performing artist portal.
So this portal is for artists, and performing artists are
but weddings do not go looking for artists when they're looking for a wedding photographer. They just don't think about it that way.
So in our survey that we did, photographers classified under the area of, so even makeup artists are classified in this category when it comes to an artist, finding a service for, so we basically catering those services which are some way falling in the category of an artist. And according to us, photographers fall in that bunch.
I see. So that's a whole different, that's a very different business than what it sounded like when you presented. So let's ask the audience, did you get the sense, all these clarifications that are coming out in the Q&A, when you listen to this pitch, did you get the sense that we're talking about photographers and makeup artists? Let's ask the audience see, nobody, I think most people in the audience did not get that sense at all, so your pitch is not working.
Right.
Everybody thought it was performing arts. The way you've pitched this, everybody is getting the sense that you're talking about performing arts. So first and foremost, I think in this forum, the first takeaway from this forum is your pitch is not working. And
okay.
Just like Anand Jain is saying, that sounded interesting. The performing arts exchange sounded interesting. To me also it sounded interesting. I don't know how large an opportunity it is, business opportunity-wise, market size-wise, but it's certainly interesting.
So I will give you my explanation for this. So performing artists definitely is what we are catering to. So out of 10 categories of artists, photographers are one of them. Now, if you go to any artist portal, any artist portal that exists somewhere or the other, photographers fall in that category. So performing arts.
But your competition in that case, if you're talking about hiring wedding photographers, your competition are the wedding portals. The wedding portals are taking care of photographers, makeup artists, and flowers and all these things, all these kinds of art that happens in the context of a wedding. That's being handled by the wedding portals. You don't include the wedding portals in your competition. In that case, if that's your universe, then the wedding portals are part of your competitive landscape.
Okay, so I'll not be able to justify myself in the case because on the survey that on the premise that we have the pitch that we have we made, we are classifying photographer as an artist, and
no, you can do that. My point is, then your competition is not the only competition that you put up on this on these slide decks. It also includes the wedding portals. If photographers are a part, or wedding-related non-performing artists, wedding-related non-performing artists is a part of your universe, then there's another set of competition which you have not presented here.
Okay, so
the wedding portals. And I think that's, if wedding is one of the primary markets, wedding portals are going to be your primary competition. You need to acknowledge that.
In my defense, I would like to say that the wedding portals currently in India, so they more or less act as listing sites. So if you go to any portal which is basically listing wedding services, photography, there will be 100 contacts of photographers there. Again, finding contact not the problem that we are trying to solve here. The problem we are trying to solve is out of those 100 contacts, whom do you hire? So this can prove to be useful. This portal can expand maybe tomorrow and be for some service else. But the problem that we're trying to solve here is helping the user make an informed decision on the basis of his previous clients, his work, and his performance fee, because these are three major criteria when you are hiring some talent.
Yeah, so anyway, I think we've talked about this. You go think about it and how you want to address the issue. Your investments needed here, where is the market sizing and all that? How does an investor make a decision based on the pitch that you've provided? As an investor, I cannot make any decision. I don't have any of the information I need to make a decision.
This is the market size.
What is the market size?
Slide number, which slide is this? The 5th slide, I think.
That is not the market size. The market size we are looking for is a bottom-up market size. This is top-down market sizing. Investors don't make decisions based on top-down market sizing.
Can you please elaborate on that, because that is something that I've never. So can you please tell me?
So
what is
right now I do not have the time to teach you top-down market sizing. That's something that we teach in the program. If you want to learn how to do all that stuff, you need to join the program, because I'm going to need to work with 2 more presenters plus do Q&A. I can't really spend half an hour doing market sizing training here. But make a note of the fact that you do need to have top-down market sizing in your pitch, otherwise investors cannot make a decision.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Jigar Doriwala, you're up next. Tenacious Techies. Please unmute your line. Everybody else, please mute your line. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. We're going to talk about buzzmyevent.in, which is event ticketing portal. The easiest way I can connect is it's mostly similar to the invitation we send us through Eventbrite. So it's a portal similar like that, and my company has even developed another 3 to 4 portals, but we're not going to talk about that today. We can move on the next slide. So these are the target markets who can use our portal, which has been targeting just India to start with, and further away it will be launching in Australia, where I have a company set up as well. We'll be mostly tying up with event management companies and also with people who want to learn workshops, seminars, classes. We have even targeted cinemas. We have a cinema ticketing system as well, where people can book tickets online. We can also concentrate on trade exports, concerts and festivals, gym and personal trainers, and even the people looking for events in the city, because there are not many websites available right now where people can see events in the local cities in India. I know there is a lot of things like this available in Australia and in India, in US. For example, Mitra is completely with its social network, and it is completely free, whereas Eventbrite is mostly focused on ticketing, which is free plus paid. Eventbrite mostly get their customers from with free model, but then Meetup doesn't provide the ticketing thing. And mostly for clubs and pubs as well, and social groups like not-for-profit organizations. For example, in India there are a lot of groups where they have a lot get-togethering every month, like every caste system they have, and they have their events every couple of months. So our system can be used completely free for them as well. So mostly it's like value proposition is like, people can find events in the city, something which people would like to find out, what's happening around here. On weekend, no one knows what's happening out in the town. So mostly our portal wants to do that. And free event ticketing, and it's completely automated. Mostly, so it's lack of interference, just like Eventbrite. Same thing, 2.5% on paid events plus 2.5% on payment gateway fees, compared to other commission paid by other players. Some companies even charge up to 10%, and lot of the current market players have to go with lot of. There's not many players who give the access for creating events in few minutes. We are even giving free tools for marketing, like emailing. So we have developed our email system where people can do mass emailing through our system for completely free. Then we're going to put even interactive chat where people can chat about the event and even give them the feedback. Mostly we are going to target event management companies, because for example, if as the previous as previously we see there are a lot of weddings which happens in India, but when people go to a new town or when they are looking for some nice event organizer, they don't know if this event organizer is genuine or not. So what we are doing is we mostly giving the timeline for every event organizer, and we're going to give them a rating system. So based upon that, they can promote that, find my work through here, so they can secure more work, as well as the client can see what previous events those event holder or event organizer had done to give any bigger events. So that's the future module which will be working. Maybe we will be working doing that in 3 weeks time. So mostly there is no such direct competition of our product in India. A lot of people here are even using Eventbrite, even if the payment system is in dollars, not in rupees. And India is one of the fastest growing e-commerce market at the moment, where some of the shopping website has been valued over $1 million. So I believe there is a lot of scope to be there. And what I want to do is, if I get help, I want to do a lot of localization in near future. We can go on the next step. So mostly there are companies who have event ticketing and cinema ticketing, but there are no direct players where they are helping like organizations to do all that their online ticketing. Most of them have a long process to publish the event. Also, like India has only 15 to 20% of internet users, and mobile internet users are fast growing. We have successfully completed our Android app as well as iPhone app. What mostly I'm looking for to acquire customers is through word of mouth and giving the power to the customers. I would like to set up a call center, but I'm just looking into it because I don't have experience in setting up a proper call center process. Other strategy which I'm thinking to is do through Google AdWords and Facebook, running competition on Facebook, giving invite a friend and import contracts to the event organizers. For example, if an event organizer has 10,000 contacts, they can upload the whole list and market through our system, and on the signage will be our logo. So that way we are looking to spread the word of mouth. Mostly we are hoping to target through event managed companies and through local franchisees, because we have just launched an event of a local in our city of Honey Singh, which is a big star, but we only got 2 online bookings and we got around 100 offline sales, not online. So people are not internet savvy yet. They are very afraid to buy it online. So the next step, I am also thinking to put something like a pay later option to use our system, so we can even ignore the payment gateway fee and just maybe go on the subscription model. Sometimes we can even barter with the event manager.
So give you some feedback, Jigar. I think we understand what you're trying to do. Your comments about Indian market, India being a fast-growing e-commerce market, India has actually been a very slow-growing e-commerce market. It's been, given the size of the population, it is a very, very slow-growing e-commerce market, relatively speaking. And the depth of the internet usage is actually very shallow. So as a result, all these different internet services where you would expect people to use services more actively are not being used as much. The category that has been able to break through is actually travel booking. Outside of travel booking, however, the e-commerce market has grown very slowly, and these kinds of services, and why? Why do you think, after all these years of the internet being in India, why do you think there is no ticketing portal? Why is there no Eventbrite kind of presence, product or service available?
There is a company, Book My Show. Book My Show has just raised 100 crores, which is around $20 million for a very minor share. And they do cinema ticketing and event ticketing. And they are also like not a profitable company. They are a loss-making company, but they raised 100 crores because of number of users. So they have done considerable. They have been in the industry from last 10 years. So the way I'm looking for is if I can get Indian market, and then if the model works successfully, I just have to copy that model to Australia. So because
it's not even an issue whether you want to copy the market in Australia or not. The question is, how do you make this successful in India? So the question is, what can you learn from the business that has been successful? What are the learnings from the business that has been successful? What is their focus? What is their customer acquisition strategy? How much do you know about this business? And what is the justification for you to enter this market, given that what you're saying is there is one major player that has already been successful? I imagine if there's one major player, there are other minor players as well.
See, there are one major player and there is another player as well, like Ticket New, who is doing quite well as well, and there are other players who is coming out very quickly, like for example Redbus. They just do only bus ticketing, and they have got secured a lot of investment
That's very
as well.
different. Bus ticketing is very different from event ticketing. If you're trying to do event ticketing, and it sounds like the one that you mentioned that has raised $20 million, 100 crores, that's doing cinema ticketing. Is that their primary business? Is cinema ticketing their primary business?
Yeah, cinema ticketing and event ticketing and theater ticketing is their primary business. That's what they have been doing.
Cinema ticketing.
Sorry?
What percentage of their business is cinema ticketing?
I believe almost 60%. That's what they advertise. Book my show. So 60% is, I think, cinema ticketing.
Okay.
And 40% maybe the main events like festivals like Sunburn festivals and all that. So they have secured most of the cinemas all over India, maybe around 1,000 cinemas.
Right. So now why would a cinema that's got this ticketing channel already in place, would that cinema be interested in working with you?
Yeah, that's why we're not targeting the cinema as well. Though I have developed a portal for cinemas, we're not concentrating on cinemas at all. We have built a portal for coupon, which went saturated. Then we had a portal for cinema ticketing when the market was saturated. So the latest focus which we are doing right now is only event ticketing.
Okay, so then what is the competition in the market for event ticketing?
At the moment, most of the people are.
By event ticketing, because it sounds like the company that is doing a really successful business and is thriving is doing 60% in cinema ticketing, and then the other 40% they're doing in other formal events like theater and music and other, where there are formal organizers involved who do event after event. So I think what they've done is actually created relationships with the cinemas or the cinema chains and the theaters and theater organizers. So they are basically not Eventbrite, but they're ticket master. The role they're playing is more the ticket master kind of role.
Exactly, yes. That's exactly right. You are completely right. Now,
my question is, Eventbrite is not Ticketmaster. Eventbrite is these, events that are being organized less formally and less by venues, more by random people, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, what is the current experience of the market for that kind of event organizers? Are people using that system, and are people willing to pay?
People are using systems. There are a couple of people I have researched. There are other companies, for example, which is into the event as well, and they are using the system and they are getting some business out of that as well. The main strategy I'm giving is why I'm having this model as well is to acquire customers, because myself, like, that if you're running a workshop or you're doing any seminars, like, like webinars, there are not many tools available over here.
Right, but Eventbrite can be used by anybody, because if the event is free, people can use it from anywhere in the world.
Yep. We're going to put another option called pay later option. So mostly people in India are not booking tickets online. They rather want to pay later, which we're going to put in our next version. The pay later option,
How do you make money if people pay later when they show up at the event and pay directly to the organizers? How do you get paid?
We want to get paid. Initially, my target is just to create users. That's what I want to do. I want people to use my system, If once they start using it, then I can put locks that, okay, pay a subscription fee or pay a monthly fee in order to use our system, because everyone is open to pay if they get results, if they get booking.
Okay, and how do you propose to finance this business in the meantime?
Well, right now, everything is good. Like I'm from a very well-to-do family background, so right now I'm just it's the in-house finance at the moment. But if someone can come as a mentor or as little bit or an investor, I will be very open. Because the next thing which I see as a vision is that I want to set up a call center where I can call all the classes, tuitions, and tell them that they can use our portal.
Business that you should set up a call center for, because there's, this is an ad hoc. This kind of event organization is ad hoc, so you don't know whom to call. People who need to come to you, you need to do online marketing. The only kind of customer acquisition that works for businesses like this that are ad hoc users is online marketing, where people express intent and then they find the solution and go sign up for that solution through a Google search or something like that. This is not something where you should have an outbound call center at all. And the business that you're describing, this is not a fundable situation right now. You need to do a lot of work for this to be interesting to any investor.
Yeah, mostly I'm talking with you just to get some help, maybe some how you can do. For example, I don't know, I have much knowledge, not much about international currencies. For example, in Eventbrite, as you say, they accept all kind of currencies. So I don't have knowledge, how they accept the currencies and pass the remaining amount to the event holder.
For you, if you're doing this business for India, there's no question of international currency, nothing.
Well, I'm not doing it in India. I want to make it global. But because I don't have experience right now, I have just told my team to code it for India. But I would really like to go and take international payment gateways and all that. If I get some knowledge.
Business for India, you don't need to do international payment gateways. Don't try to solve unnecessary problems. You need to solve problems that are in the context of the business that you're trying to do.
Right. See, the reason I was thinking in dollars or in Australia is why, because you get paid more over there than over here.
Go do the business only in Australia. Go research the market for Australia. Go figure out what is the opportunity in Australia, what is the competitive landscape, and so on and so forth, and just do the business for Australia.
Yeah. See, I'm just doing the pilot phase over in India. Once I know the whole process, then only I want to launch in Australia.
India and the pilot for Australia are completely different pilots. The markets operate differently, the behaviors are different. Australia is a mature internet market. People will be very willing to pay for stuff, sign up and put their credit card into the app or the online system in Australia. There's none of these problems, none of these friction items that exist in India are going to exist in Australia.
The thing is, the way I say India is like when I release the app, whenever you release a new product, there are bugs which come over. That's why I'm just testing everything over here.
That's software testing. That's a very different issue than business testing. Bug testing for software is not a reason to launch a product in a geography, which is not your end goal. If your end goal is Australia, then you'll do the business in Australia.
Right. I have set up the
because the business structure, the way you're going to design the business is going to be different in Australia.
Yeah, a little
I'm going to stop with you for and finish the last presentation. Then I will take a few minutes to explain to you how 1M works and how you can use the program to learn what you do not know. But I do need to stop this discussion at this point because we need to do 2 more segments. And thank you, Jigar. Let's go to Shailendra Tendolkar. If you could unmute your line and tell us what you're working on, that would be great.
All?
Go on.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank Sramana and Maureen for giving me opportunity to present my idea in the roundtable. My name is Shailendra. I am from Maharashtra, India. My details are given below. Next slide, please. Yeah, the business plan is providing medical treatment, quality medical treatment in low cost all across the world. Every year about 70 lakh people travel across the countries to get good medical treatment in time and in a cost effective manner. There are some data like in 2012 there are 12 lakh people visited Thailand, 10 lakh people visited Mexico, 8 lakh people visited USA,
so folks,
and
for
4 lakh people.
Who are not familiar with this terminology of lakh, 70 lakh is 7 million people basically.
Okay, thank you. So next slide, please. Can you go to next slide? Yeah. So there is a reason why people travel to other destinations for to take the treatment, like lack of expertise. In countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and UAE, Nepal, there are expertise are not available. Then cost advantage is there, like people from USA, UK, or developed countries, where the cost of treatment is almost 10 times less than their native countries. Like if I want to give an example, for suppose a treatment for heart treatment in US cost around $4 lakh, where in India it will cost you only 10 times of that cost. Then availability. In UK or in US, there is government services available like national health services, where people get treatment in affordable price, but it takes
a long way
years to get there. Yeah. Can you go to next slide, please? Yeah. India is a recent entrant into medical tourism. See, first of all, I would like to say that my business plan is to go in global, but for first step, I would like to enter do a pilot for India. According to McKinsey, there is a business of $1 billion as estimated business in 2012, and in 2012 there are business of around 10,000 crore in Indian rupees, and the major players are Escort, Apollo Hospital, Indraprastha Hospital, Hinduja Hospital, and Jaslok Hospital. These are the main players who are getting this medical tourism business in India. Can you go to the next slide, please? So as I told you that my first aim is to looking for advantage in India. Like India has a large pool of good doctors, nurses, and paramedics. World-class facilities are also available, and a lot of facilities are coming up. Cost advantage during the treatment, as well as medication. High brand value of leading Indian medical professionals across the globe. Good English-speaking people, and vibrant pharmaceutical industry. These are the advantages of India to attract the medical tourism people. Can you go to next slide, please? So what is the business opportunity here? So I'm planning to develop an online service provider company which will work as an agency which can coordinate between client, that is patient, and service providers like hospitals, hotels, and logistics etc. Can you go to next slide, please? So how it will work? The scope of work. First of all, create an informative website with details of service providers, information about hospital treatments and travel destinations. Marketing of services. How will I reach the clients first? Then mass emailing, social media, bulk SMSs, Google ads, and local media ads etc. Like sending emails to a lot of people across the continent by getting this email services. Then next, once we send them email, we get inquiry through a prospective client through emails or phone. Then forward the inquiry to service providers and get the quotations for required treatment and other expenses. Can you go to next slide? Next slide, please. Yeah. Reply to client with an at least 3 techno-commercial proposals from different service providers, then interact with client and provide required assistance to select the proper deal. I would like to elaborate something on this. Like once we send these details to hospitals, we'll see different hospitals, we get techno-commercial quotations. We'll forward those quotations to our client, like saying that, see, for an example, if any person want to take a treatment on cosmetic treatment, then we will say that in Mumbai you will get it for around $1,000, for in Pune you will get for $800, or other cities like Hyderabad you will get for $600. So if first choice will be that from patient, that he will say that, okay, I will go for Mumbai. Then we will assign one assistant to that client who will interact between the doctors and with patients. We will collect the required details and all other. Once that patient will finalize the treatment, we will look for the logistics and hotels and everything. So here that assistance will be provided, and after the treatment and fulfill, we will make sure that the entire deal will get fulfilled as per the set norms. Next slide, please. What are the revenue streams? Revenue streams are first that renting out and advertising space to hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, medical equipment companies, and other service providers in the healthcare services and allied services. Agencies charges from service providers. Main revenue will be from service providers like hospitals, hotels, and logistics in form of agency charges, that is defined charges of percentage charges of billing generated by the services, like you can say as a commission. Then fees from the clients. As we said that once we assign assistant to that client, after sending a 3 technical proposals, we will charge minimum fees to client for coordinating between client and service providers. Once the client finalizes.
Let me give you some feedback. I think we understand what you're trying to do, Shailendra. There is definitely medical tourism on the rise, and it's complicated. It's logistically complicated. It's hard to figure out where to go, and international consumers who are looking to acquire these services from a foreign service provider, it's complicated. So your point is well taken, that there is a need to address this problem, and a local service provider could be a good solution for not only to coordinate the medical treatment, but also to coordinate the on-the-ground logistics. So all those assumptions seem to make sense to me. You will need to validate them, but in principle it makes sense to me. The revenue structure does not make sense to me. I would kind of cut out and just make it one thing. And the one that seems to me the most interesting actually is to just charge the clients. The client buys your services to do all this research and coordination for you, and everything else, just cut it out and try to build the business on one revenue stream. Doing 3 different revenue streams in one business is extremely complicated. I would suggest you don't.
Thank you. Thanks for suggestion. But I want to add something.
It's not worth looking at. None of your assumptions are going to be particularly useful at the moment. I don't want to go into financials.
Okay.
And you cannot raise capital without actually validating and getting a business going, and especially nowhere actually, not just in India, nowhere in the world can you raise capital just on a concept. You have to get a business going in a bootstrap mode, and then and get all the pieces lined up so that people can make assessments. And by the way, all of you who are proposing to raise money, none of you are presenting what it requires, what an investor would require to even diagnose whether this is something that's fundable or not. And you need to learn how to diagnose whether your business is fundable or not. And all that is missing right now. You do not know how to build investor pitches. You need to learn how to build investor pitches. You need to provide certain types of analysis which investors require to gauge whether or not to fund your business. Okay, I'm going to give you some, we just have a very few minutes left. We have 6 minutes left in the presentation, so I'm going to spend a few minutes just explaining to you how we work in 1 million by 1 million, and if there is time, I will take a few questions. Okay, so Shailendra, listen to this, and then if you have questions, we can talk about it afterwards. If you like, by the way, what we do, please refer us to other serious entrepreneurs. We are looking for serious entrepreneurs to work with who have the tenacity to be successful. It's a many, many years commitment to building a business, and those are the kinds of entrepreneurs we are looking to working with. Okay, so 1mby1m.com is where all the resources that I'm going to talk about exist. The first set of resources is the blog. That's a free resource. There's a tremendous amount of material that you can learn from on the blog. There's also the Entrepreneur Journeys book series, which is a case study-based series of books that address specific topics. The first 4 books are in paper and digital format. The last 4 books are only digital. They're all available on Kindle, and the first 4 are also available on Amazon. We have, the books are, by the way, a good entry point into understanding how we operate and just getting to know the process of how to learn through case studies and stuff like that. All the books are case study based learning. On the blog, this is what the site looks like. Actually, the blog site also has featured videos. We do these roundtables, these strategy roundtables every week. So every Thursday in June, you will have one of these available. So if you need to spend some time here to just get some input and feedback and just get a bit of coaching perhaps, this is a good place to start. You will need to go to the website and register to book your slot for a pitch. And this is by the way, this is a working session, You don't need to be afraid or defensive about anything. We are on your side. We want you to be successful. We don't want you to go in front of investors or customers and, have your presentation fall flat on its face. That's why what you're doing here is practicing, right? We just looked at one presentation. I think it was, I can't remember whose presentation it was, the entertainment network marketplace presentation. We just did a practice pitch, and you presented something. We gave you feedback on what we are hearing. Based on that feedback, you can then tune your pitch, stuff like that. So there's all sorts of business assumptions you're making that we can give you feedback on how to change that stuff, what's missing from a presentation. Every one of you are missing bottom-up TAM analysis. Bottom-up TAM analysis is a vital component of any investor pitch. You need to have that. If you're even contemplating fundraising, you need to have that. Okay, then we have the $1,000 annual membership fee premium program, where we offer extensive methodology guidance on how to put one foot before the other. We have a great curriculum. We help you with business development, customers, channel partners, whatever it is that we can help you with. We do strategy consulting, similar format, but in a private members-only roundtable, but in combination with the curriculum where you're learning a lot of the basics. Like, we're not going to discuss how to do bottom-up TAM analysis because you're going to learn that in the curriculum. What we may discuss are your assumptions for a TAM model for a bottom-up TAM analysis, and some of those issues are complex, and we're going to be able to give you feedback on, you may have a half-an-hour lecture that you've already learned the methodology of a particular topic on, whether it's validation, whether it's TAM analysis, whether it's financing related stuff. We have like hours of curriculum on financing, valuation, pitch, what you need for a pitch. We give you full coaching on pitch. And then you can, when you come to the roundtable, you actually come with a lot more preparation, so the discussions are much more meaty, much more substantial. We also help you with financing. We will help you with both the diagnostic of financing, the preparation of financing, and then the financing itself. We will introduce you to investors, help you negotiate the term sheets, make decisions, and so forth. And then we also help you with getting coverage in the media. If you go to the website, the $1 Million Club shows you some of the case studies of people who are succeeding in the program. We also give you an ROI analysis of our program, which is $375,000 plus 5 to 10% equity worth of value available to you for just a $1,000 annual membership fee. So it's a very, very high value program if you use it the way it's supposed to be used, and we give you guidance on how to use the program effectively. The one-on-one and self-assessment is something that's publicly available. We strongly recommend that you take a look at that and run your business through this assessment, because these are the questions that investors are going to ask you, and these are the questions that you should be asking yourself. You are an investor in your own business. You are investing your time, your energy, your opportunity cost. You could be making a lot of money working somewhere else. So these are questions that you need to answer. So there's lots of information on the site. We've tried to make the site as rich as possible to help you evaluate for yourself what to expect from the premium program. All these video FAQs will answer lots of the questions that come up. The curriculum is taught in form of video lectures and case studies. We've been developing case studies since 2006. Over 600 successful entrepreneurs from all over the world have come to this forum to teach you their journeys and what they have learned from their journeys. And that's what we have stitched up to build into a really powerful curriculum where you get both the video lectures that synthesize the lessons and also the case studies itself. So it's like you get a chance to actually sit across from the, and have a coffee with somebody who has built a $1 billion company or a $100 million company, and you get to learn from that exchange. It's very, very powerful. The curriculum is broken up into core, where we teach 7 topics: bootstrapping, positioning, market sizing, customer validation, financing, customer acquisition, team building. And then on the electives, we have Web 3.0 and e-commerce, cloud computing and business solutions, outsourcing and consulting, mobile and social apps, healthcare, IT, online education, gaming. And whatever is, you have unlimited access to the entire curriculum. All course, all electives are available to you. Whatever you need to access, you can access. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. Every company, even if you have aspirations of raising money and if you need to get to a point where you're fundable, you're going to have to go through this very lean, capital efficient, bootstrap phase where you prepare yourself for being fundable and for your eventual funding. And this period is incredibly important, and if you waste the time and the resources that you have, you will never get to that fundable stage. It takes a long time actually to get a company to fundability. Coverage of premium members is a page that is accessible from our press navigation button up on the top brown bar, and you will see how much coverage we've been able to generate for our premium members. We constantly do coverage for our premium members, and it's very, very difficult for any small company to get any coverage at all in the media. So this is one of the ways we generate coverage. You can also access our social media channels: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We give you access to our channels so that you can spread your communication through these channels. Our blog is also something that we promote you through, and again, these are all various different ways of getting you out there and making you known in the world. Social proof, media coverage is really important, and it's something that you have to pay attention to as you build your business. Then we have an affiliate program where we partner with other synergistic players in the ecosystem who want to be an affiliate partner of the One program, and we pay 10% affiliate commission. Upcoming free roundtables are every week in June, basically Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time. We have every single week in June. Vision India 2020 is a book that is an ideation book. It has $45 billion business ideas. It uses the visioning technique, and it's written as if we are sitting in 2020 reflecting back on how these businesses have been built. So take a look. If you're looking for an idea, it will stimulate your brain. And then we have the 1M1M incubator in a box, which a lot of companies and other organizations are using to start their own incubator. These are just some of the more recent books. And we are actually out of time. If anybody has a burning question right now, we can take your question, either in public chat or through a call. And if you have questions about the 1M1M program, you can contact Irina Patterson. Her phone number is 786-301-2456. Her email is irina@1mby1m.com, and her Skype ID is irina_Patterson. Lucas, you're asking any views about Brazil. Well, you know, we work internationally, so we'll be happy to work with you in Brazil as well. So we don't have any bias for or against Brazil. We are happy to work with. This is a global program. This is the only global incubator accelerator in the world. So we're happy to work with you in Brazil as well. Anybody else? Any other quick questions? We are 5 minutes over time right now. Yes? No? All right. Well, then we wrap up, and we will see you back here next week, and hopefully we'll have a chance to work on more of your businesses together. Bye-bye, everybody. Good luck.